Welcome to Live Better Longer. I'm your host, Bill Borton. Retirement used to mean working until you were 65, sometimes for the same employer your whole career, and then retiring with a watch and a pension. I know that's what my father did. But these days, many baby boomers, including me and my guest, retirement isn't really part of our vocabulary anymore. My guest this week, Candida Seasock, is the CEO of CTS Associates. She's also a dear friend I've known for over 30 years. A consummate go-giver, she fills her days helping people in seemingly limitless number of ways. She's an advisor to CEOs, a leader, a mentor, a career coach, a connector, a nonprofit board member, a volunteer, a recipient of numerous awards, and even a poet. Candida, welcome to Live Better Longer.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Again.
Yes, by all means.
Normally we would hug, so we skipped that.
Well, yeah, I've been trying to get you on the show for a long time. I'm really glad that you finally agreed. Although the fact that you were on a couple of other RVN shows first, yeah, you know. At any rate.
I'm at the doghouse?
No, never with me. You know, we've known each other too long. So tell me and our audience about what you and CTS Associates do.
We simply advise CEOs of companies on their strategy, their roadmap, the tactics, to build their company and take it forward. It sounds very simple, very condensed, but there's tremendous amount of work, first of all, understanding, and work that goes behind it.
Well, a lot of business owners, I know you tend to work with small to mid-sized business owners.
Partnerships, family-owned businesses.
Yeah, closely held corporations where you can work with the person who's really in charge.
Yes. And
they have to listen. And
yes.
I remember when I first got reacquainted with you about 10 years ago, you said they have to be smart, have a good sense of humor, and listen.
Yes, and be good to their employees.
And be honest,
yes.
Yeah. So when you work with these folks, then you discover, they discover, that a lot of the things that you really need to be able to do to run a business successfully, they don't have experience doing.
A lot of time it is that, but a lot of time is more around they know changes have to be made. They want to be surrounded by people that help them make the changes like an evolution and not a revolution, right?
Right.
They want the wisdom of people that have been there and done that. That's the key to why a CEO might hire an advisor who then works on different parts for them. So I do the advisement, but I bring in other colleagues to do the work.
Now, I know that you help people make sure they have the right team in place. You help people raise funds if they need to. You help them figure out how to improve sales. I mean, you really cover just about everything.
It's the 4 pillars of the business, which is operations, sales, marketing, human resource, and finance. And finance, your finances are not going to change unless operations, sales, human resource all work together. Because the numbers are stagnant unless something helps them move towards the positive.
Now, how long have you been doing this? I know you've
had
a long...
Now 15 years for this one, yes. Yeah. But I've been working a long time, 53 years.
Wow. Yeah, slowing down maybe just a little, but not much, right?
Well, not really. Adjusting to certain things.
Good.
But I think what I like about the career that was actually never laid out is that every time I lost a job, I started a company and then would get another corporate job and then would get my package and then start another company. And I just kept evolving as time went by, as opposed to standing still.
I think when we first met in the late 80s, that was one of those points in time where you'd started a company.
I had the second company.
A second company with a couple of colleagues, and you guys needed disability insurance.
That's right.
And guess what? Bill showed up.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you were a great help. Very great help.
So I know, helping business owners and business leaders figure things out and bring in other people to help with that kind of led you to starting advisory boards, and then that led to something called ELAB, right?
Yes, Executive Leaders for Advisory Board was started in 2014. We launched it publicly last week.
Oh.
The website is
I did see the press release.
The press release from Jim DiLorenzo.
Who has a show here at RVN.
That's right, small world. And I think the members are very pleased. They actually, I always believe evolutions work out better in whether it's a nonprofit or your own business, but it was the members that actually, you might say, put me over the edge and said I really have to put this out to the public. The prestigious members of all walks of life, whether they work for a company locally or they're global, the tremendous amount of knowledge they have to help companies. And it's always better to have more than one advisor. There's strength in numbers sometimes.
And you have like 40 to 50 senior level people,
There's
right?
48 advisors, and they work for their other companies, right? And I can tap into, several of them sit on my advisory boards that I've began for clients. So I started it with the ones I knew. I sent out an email and said, hey, I want to build this. And out of 30 people, they all answer, when? And that sealed it for me, 4 years ago. I'm doing this.
Well, it's a testament to you and to the value that you provide.
Thank you. I don't do good with compliments.
Well, I know. I have had to kind of chisel away at that shell you put around yourself over the years.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't do things alone. So yes, maybe I have the idea the seed is not a seed, doesn't become a tree unless you have people around you to help it grow.
Yeah, shining light, putting water and fertilizer on it, sure.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, it does. I know about fertilizer.
That's right. I guess you do.
So you've been doing CTS Associates for 15 years. The advisory boards have been around a little less time than that, but then
6
ELAB,
years as part of the business.
and then now ELAB makes it all big official
Yes,
and
yes.
out there,
Yes.
so that the public and businesses all over can tap into that network.
The important part is that we launched with it Growth Company Catalyst, and we're focusing on small to mid-sized companies with revenue that we can help.
Okay.
There's plenty in the Philadelphia area that help entrepreneur companies, startups, and all that. And there's a lot of good, excellent peer groups for CEOs to go to or executives to go to, but something where they can present to the executives in ELAB, Executive Leaders for Advisory Board, that's new. We did a lot of research, both legally and just marketing, to see what was out there. We haven't found anything in the United States like it.
So, well,
There's pockets of but not like the one we have in Philadelphia.
figures everything around this country started in Philadelphia, the birthplace.
Yes.
So
Benjamin Franklin still walks around.
Indeed, I've seen him. If business owners or business leaders want to learn more about ELAB, what's the easiest way for them to find out about it? Is there a website?
Oh, the website is Executive Leaders for Advisory Boards. I think if you put that in or ELAB, you'll get to it. We're not on top yet. We're getting there.
Okay.
I think they need some search engine, something or other to do it with. And obviously, if you see my name, you know you got the right site.
Yeah, and there aren't too many people who are named Candida, Tosha, Seasock out there,
Yes,
right?
very rarely.
I think you're the only one?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
So, you're on LinkedIn.
Yes.
So that's an easy way to find you.
Correct.
Last time I looked, you have, about 300 recommendations on LinkedIn?
I have 3,000 or more connections of people I actually know. I don't connect unless I meet with someone. And there was a time in my life where I met a lot of people and ended up having a lot of connections. Now I still meet people, but it's through other people that want me to help somebody. So
well, people know that you're connected and that you're a connector and that you make good connections.
yes,
You've made some really good ones for me and I for you over the years, although I think I still
Absolutely.
owe you a few. But
that'll be the rest of your life.
the rest of my life?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're going to be around a while, both of us, I think.
Yes,
And so
live long,
live
prosper.
longer. Yeah, live longer, better.
That's right.
So when you are not helping companies, you also help executives in transition, particularly CIOs, don't you?
I focused on CIOs because that was one of my titles in my younger days. I also had a CFO titles when I worked for Deloitte, and the partner in charge there was very astute. I didn't want to get my CPA, so he put me on an assignment with a company as their CFO. He was a great mentor to me, but anyway. So I started with CIOs. Now it's more executive. Any executives that needs to figure out how to start up if they're looking for a job or they took a package, because the world's changed. And I'll connect them to other executives that have gone through it, so it's not just what ideas and thoughts I give them or what profile they need to write. It's also about meeting other people that have been through it, because that's a great way to discuss and get yourself out of sadness if you're sad about it. I notice I'm running into a lot of people that are good. They have their package, they want to go do something else, and the whole world is open to them to do something else. But you have to know how to approach that world. It's changed.
Well, we both know a lot of executives in transition over the years because we've been involved with networking groups and the like. But I've discovered that a lot of people can't wait to get back in. Their whole identity is wrapped up around that position in that corporation. And then there are other people, like you say, who take their package and want to finally figure out what matters and go out and do something, significant.
Yes.
And you help people with that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I give them plenty of thoughts and ideas.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I know that you also have and continue to serve on a number of nonprofit boards as well.
Actually, I only have one.
Only one now?
Yes. I've resigned from all of them gradually. I still help in different ways, but I don't go to board meetings and all that.
Yeah. Well, they're usually at night, and I know by that time of day you're looking forward to kicking back and
Don't go there.
kicking back, having a glass of Chianti, and
Just a glass?
okay, well, maybe a couple.
Okay, good.
At any rate. Well, so we're going to take a break right now for a word from our sponsors, and we're going to come back and talk about some other things with my guest, Candida Seasock, on Live Better Longer. Welcome back to Live Better Longer. I'm your host, Bill Borton, here with my guest and dear friend, Candida Seasock. So Candida, before the break, we talked about business, but now let's talk about you. I know it's your favorite subject to talk about yourself, haha.
Yes.
But, our viewers may not realize that you used to be a competitive runner and a swimmer, and you still do some of the swimming, but not the running so much.
No, I gave up the running about 10 years ago. Running was a great form of release, but I think the story goes that when I was 7, I realized I could walk. I can get someplace faster by running and not walking. So you can kind of guess my age. So in my days, if a woman ran, you were a tomboy, and that didn't bother me. So I just still ran. It's a lot faster. And then in high school, I ran track, and then continued running races. And for about 10 years, I trained guys. It was mostly guys. And they became my friends, to run marathon, but I refused to run marathons. I knew by then that it just, staying on my feet that long, running was not good. I did half marathons, that Broad Street run, I was one of the first 100s, but marathons never crossed my mind as a reality. So I would train them, and then on the 10th mile, I'd pick up the bike. And there's many stories that go with how I ride a bike and don't do it so well.
Which is the only thing I really do. I don't run unless somebody's chasing me with a gun, and I can swim to save my life, but I love cycling. So swimming is something you still do now, right?
When I gave up running, I swam as a good exercise, but about 3 or 4 years ago, I gave that up too, and I just walk. I walk the track because it's easy to count the miles that way. And I can walk anytime, anywhere. And my little watch that my husband gave me tracks me. I think he's tracking me sometimes.
Yeah.
But, and I enjoy that, and that makes me feel good.
So part of living better longer for you is not just the exercise, but also you're very cognizant of what you eat too.
Yes. We were never brought up on junk food. And I think, as you know, I was born in Milan, Italy, and my mother came to America with me and my sister in 1955. There wasn't money for food, but junk food didn't exist. So everything was always home cooked. Going out to dinner was a treat, a real treat. So I never brought up, I didn't drink sodas. I drank wine though. Always a glass of wine with dinner, and I didn't eat junk food. I think that helped. Having, your history with your family and how long they live and how well they are is also important. And I still don't eat junk food. I still don't drink soda. Once in a while, I get an urge for a root beer. I get more of an urge for a real beer and a real glass of wine to go with the pizzas or the good food. I think staying healthy and thinking positive is very important because if you think negative on everything, then you miss the opportunities, right, that might be at hand. But it also drains you and ages you. And having good health and trying to strive for good health is important.
I think most people don't even begin to realize how responsible we all are for our own health. A book by Bruce Lipton, Biology of Belief, which came out about 10 or 15 years ago, he suggests that about 60% of our physical experience and 60% is between our ears, what we think about, what we believe, and like you said, a positive attitude, and the other 40% is what we put in our mouths, you know, so-called food and pharmaceuticals. And you know, I take no pharmaceuticals every day, and I try to eat a healthy diet as much as possible. But I also have a mindset of, hey, I'm going to live to be at least 100, and I want to get there in good shape.
Yes.
And I know that you plan on being around a long time too.
Yes, I think I would enjoy being around and stirring the pot and doing all the things that I enjoy doing for a long period of time. And there's a lot in my family history that worked till 90 or 95. We had an uncle in Italy that left his law firm, left it to his daughter at 95, and he died when he was 100. We have relatives around here that died in their 90s. But they worked. My mother worked till she was 85. She was a seamstress. She always stayed active, walking, working, doing seamstress work. I think that is a lot to keep your state of mind active. And she did not have good health, but she had good mental health in a sense.
Determination.
Yeah, true.
Well, the beautiful thing
Keeping me in line was a big determination for her.
The beautiful thing about, you know, each of us doing our own thing is that we never have to stop. And keeping your saw sharp, as I like to call it, is really important. You know, keeping your mind and your body physically active and well fueled and nourished, but you know, also being out there in the community helping people. And I know you mentioned that you're only on one nonprofit board now, but I know that you also keep your mind sharp in another way and express your creativity, and that is you write poetry.
Yes.
You want to tell us about that a little bit?
I started writing poetry when I was at Rutgers University. I had a very nice poetry teacher. I think I kind of scribbled stuff before that, and I think he helped me understand that some things are natural for someone. And I kept writing poetry, and sometimes I would publish and sometimes I wouldn't. I think I have about 200 or 300 poems. Most of them are not published. And I'm in the process now. You know, things you do when you pass a certain age. I wanted to put in order a lot of my poetry as not just thoughts, but poems. And I'm in the process of doing that.
So we might be seeing actually a book someday?
I've always wanted to do a poetry book with pictures. So I also do photography. So I have the pictures, and I think I will have the poems to go with some of those pictures.
Well, you will let me know, won't you?
I promise I will.
Okay, good, thank you. So another thing I know about you, and I mentioned in our intro, is you've received a number of awards. And I happen to have been at 2 award ceremonies that I can recall where you were being honored. The most recent one, it's been several years ago, was an Alice Paul Institute Award.
Yeah, Alice Paul Institute Equality for Women Award. That was fantastic because I didn't expect it at all. Even though I'd helped the organization, I never expected to get an award. I'm a CEO, but I'm a CEO of my small company, and most of the people there were CEOs of large companies, which is a whole different story. But I had the greatest passion to always help women and help women help each other. And I'd started a women's group, which now is run by a woman half my age.
Right.
And she's taken it with another lady a lot further than one person can, or 2 people can, 2 founders.
I seem to recall being invited to speak at that women's group.
You spoke at WCXO, yeah. So that was great because I think it helped me to think out that women have evolved a lot in helping each other out. And I mean, I grew up in a man's world. Technology was a man's world. Accounting was a man's world. Sometimes I'd be the only woman at a meeting. And now there's more women in those fields. But
somebody had to lead the way.
Somebody had to blaze a trail.
Yeah. You just never knew that you weren't supposed to be doing those things.
Nobody told me.
And as far as I know, nobody's ever gotten very far telling you not to do anything.
My sister can attest to that.
Uh-huh.
My sister's my greatest coach, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
She knows it sinks in one ear, goes out the other sometimes.
Yeah, selective deafness, right?
Yes, selective deafness.
Wow. So what else do you want to tell us about? Oh, I know what else. So what if, I know you told us how to get in touch with eLab, but what if you're a business owner and you're stuck, or you want to get to the next level and you'd like to have the benefit of your sage counsel and your network? How do people get in touch with you?
I am on LinkedIn, so it would be under Candida Seasock. And then my email address I've had for 25 years, it's pjscts@comcast.net. And my phone number is 609-471-1188. That is my mobile, 609-471-1188. And believe it or not, I've had that number since 1985.
Wow, that was back in the days when you needed,
When it was a car phone.
you needed a suitcase
Yeah.
to carry a cell phone.
Right.
So, well, you know, time flies when you're having a good time, and I'm so glad I finally got you on Live Better Longer. And you're an inspiration to me personally, but I'm sure you will be to a lot of our viewers about what you can do if you don't even think about age and you just keep going.
Oh, age is a state of mind.
If you don't mind, it doesn't matter, right?
That's right. That's right. I led you right to that one.
There you go. Well, thank you. It's been
Thank you.
delightful. And you know
Thank you
what?
so much.
Well, we'll skip the hug for now. We'll do it later.
Oh, you don't want the audience to talk?
Well, you know, we don't want our microphones making a lot of noise.
That's true.
At any rate, thank you for watching Live Better Longer. I'm your host, Bill Borton. I'll be back here at 11 next Tuesday for another installment of Live Better Longer on RVN TV. But again, thank you, Candida, for being my guest.
You're quite welcome. It's my pleasure.
Okay. Have a great week, everyone.